Well, morning Trainiacs. I didn't want to do this video, but here we are. The CEO of Ironman World Triathlon Corporation, Andrew Messick, announced a update about the state of Ironman and how they're thinking about things in 2021. And before I get into this, I want to let you know that I'm really cautious to do this video. I'm not just doing this for sensational clickbaitiness, because Ironman has proved to me that they have an itchy trigger finger with unwarranted copyright strikes on my channel, and talking to other people, unwarranted and absolutely unlawful use of threats to individuals and companies who just don't toe the line and say, yes, sir, we will follow you. So doing this alone puts me at risk, and I worry that if you don't see me on this channel for a while, that Ironman had something to do with it. I hope that that's not the case, because I really do believe that a healthy Ironman and a healthy World Triathlon Corporation, which we need and want, means that we have a healthy triathlon community. The video, which is even unlisted, has been viewed to this point over 100,000 times, and as of right now, it's approaching 800 comments. And scrolling through them, I have yet to see one that is anything but outraged, absolutely outraged with what is in the video. A lot of you might have already seen what's in the video, but I want to give some context from a business standpoint, from a private equity standpoint, from what I'm hearing through the grapevine, what this video actually means and how much of it we can trust. The too long didn't read version of this video is we are doing everything that we possibly can to make sure that races happen as soon as they possibly happen. Oh, by the way, pay no attention to the fact that we have taken all of your money for the past year with absolutely no refunds. And by the way, we aren't going to ever talk about refunds, because refunds aren't going to happen. No refunds ever. Anything is possible besides a refund. Let's get into what is in this video. Andrew Messick starts off by saying our ability to host races in the immediate term is going to come down to a series of factors. What's happening with the virus, what's happening with vaccinations, what's happening with travel restrictions, and what is the appetite of our host communities to welcome athletes, volunteers, and staff to be able to conduct a race. Basically, what he's saying is that World Triathlon Corporation and Ironman, they're synonymous. World Triathlon Corporation is the company that runs Ironman races, so I'll use those terms synonymously. They are at 100% the whim of what is going on in the world, just like the rest of us are. Then he goes on to say, we wait until we have absolutely no alternative and that we are certain that races can't happen. Now I want to point this out. We wait until we have no alternative. They delay, and that's part of the issue that a lot of people are talking about, that they don't get notification that races are canceled or postponed right up until the very last minute, at which point there is no option for refund. Now what he's saying here is he's defending that they want to wait that long and exhaust every possible option. But I'm going to give you an example of what happened in Ironman Penticton last year that is going to let us know that we can't necessarily trust that. As early on as April of 2020, the British Columbia government was announcing that no mass gathering events would happen right up until the end of August. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Ironman Canada was being held in August. Yet all of the communication was happening from Ironman as if the race was still going on, even though us Canadians knew that there was no possible way that the race would get sanctioned. Then magically, what happens after the time period at which athletes could get a refund has passed? Then Ironman comes out and announces that the race is postponed, that it is canceled, that it is moved back, and by the way, there is no option for refund. Now, of course, athletes can take it upon themselves at any point in time to go ahead and request a refund long enough out for a race that they can get a partial refund on their entry fee if they don't feel that a race is going to happen. But what is happening here is there's this culture and messaging that is confusing people, saying we are doing everything we can to host races. We're exhausting every possible option, like they're going to bat for us to make these races happen in cases where for months on end, they probably know that there is no way that it's going to happen. They're coming out with these sorts of updates saying we're working hard to make races happen, and still sending emails out giving us encouragement to think that races are coming back and put down our money to actually go into races that he goes on to say later in the video, we expect that many of these races are going to be postponed and even canceled. Yet still the emails are coming out saying that we can go and register for all of these races. Bad form. This is all within Ironman's policy, which is why the class action lawsuit that was launched against Ironman trying to get money back from the refunds that people felt they were entitled to was actually upheld in Ironman's favor. It's because their policy is very, very clear. My belief, however, is that when you have a policy that's written before COVID and there are huge business implications for your customers that relate to COVID that are all of a sudden changing the state of the world, you change your policy along with it. And what they say is, well, we just can't go ahead and issue refunds because 90% of the costs have been borne by the races before the race actually happens, and therefore we have to keep the refunds. Really? Really? Do you have to? No. We can see that races do actually give money back. However, it's with a bit of a different twist than what Ironman is doing. Challenge Roth announced many months out of their 2020 race that they would be canceling the race. However, they'd be giving the entry fees less an administrative charge back to the athletes. Challenge family as a whole announced that refunds would be allowed for races, again, with an administration fee. And Challenge Daytona actually created a refund policy to reflect the state of uncertainty that people aren't sure that they should be putting money down with the potential that that money might never come back and they might not race. So it's very simple. If you want to give money back, you can just change the policy. Even in our business, we've had to shift, and as pools have closed, we run a triathlon training app that has a bunch of swims in it. So what do we do? Instead of just saying, hey everyone, I know you're not swimming, but you should still pay us for these training plans that are written with swimming in them. No, we had to change and adapt and give people different workouts in place of the swimming where they can't swim because pools are closed. And this year we're spending tens of thousands of dollars to allow for running only races, cycling only races, duathlons, swim runs, all different races to reflect the current state of the world. But something that's different between Challenge Family, Challenge Roth, Challenge North America, our company, and World Triathlon Corporation is that all of our businesses are owned by families and individuals. So we can think about what's best long-term for our company and for the sport and the athletes as a whole. World Triathlon Corporation and Ironman are owned by a private equity firm, so the decisions that they make are strictly and almost legally obligated to make decisions based off of what makes World Triathlon Corporation and thus their owners, the private equity companies, the most amount of money possible, not what is best for the sport or the athletes. And these decisions are made on a quarter by quarter or at very longest term, an annual basis. So while they could be hampering the sport now and essentially ruining people's perception of some of the biggest and best races in the world, they don't care because the decisions are made by a board and an ownership structure that has to kick money back to the private equity firm. So when Andrew Messick, the CEO of Ironman many years ago, saddled Ironman with so much debt that it basically can't operate, didn't matter that it's a bad thing for the athletes, for the company, or for the sport in general. They are doing what they're supposed to do for their owners. When race entries get kept and when messaging is sent out that people should be entering races, that is so they can make as much money as possible for their owners. As the CEO of a company that is owned by a private equity company, Andrew Messick is doing exactly what you'd expect him to do. His job is not to watch out for our dollars. His job is to get our dollars into the hands of the company and back up to the owners. I would expect nothing other than what they're doing right now. Now here's where I'm going to take what I think is a bit of an interesting turn. I know a lot of you are pissed off. Over 800 comments tell me that. And a lot of you want your money back, and you want your money back without question. But I'm not so sure if that is the best option in this case right now. It's the best for you, but is it the best for our sport and the health of our sport, and thus our ability to actually race in the future? I'm not so sure about that. Ironman is absolutely drowning in debt. They are currently rated by Moody's Bond Rating Corporation as a B2 credit rating. I'll save you the details of this, but if you look at the tiers of credit rating, a B2 credit rating is well below even the point at which junk bond status starts. This is not a healthy company. They're a company that even before coronavirus happened and all of their races were canceled, they were labeled as high risk, potential to go out of business. Now, what do you think's happening? This is just putting more financial strain throughout canceled races, and potentially, if they had to give refunds back, enormous financial stress on the company. One interesting aside is that as I was reading the report by Moody's rating agency, is they reported that running and cycling events, which Ironman has expanded into, are lower margin. They make less money off of running and cycling events than they do triathlons. What this tells me is we're a bunch of suckers, and that Ironman prices their races in such a way that they know we will cough up because they can take more money from us. Not because that's what it's worth and that's what it costs to put on the race, but because they know that we'll pay it. And that doesn't feel so good to me, especially when I start seeing that even 2 years ago, when a bond agency said that triathlons were already the highest margin event that World Triathlon Corporation put on, that they are then increasing the prices even more, having races that cost as much as $1,400 to enter in 2021. Meanwhile, the CEO himself is saying we expect to see races be delayed and canceled over the course of 2021. Here's why I question if refunds would be good for our sport or not. And I'm not sure if yes is the answer or no is the answer. But I know that Ironman is saddled with so much debt that if they have to start giving money back and essentially crushing their revenue, forget them laying off the 50 people or so that they laid off in 2020, forget the odd race cancellation here or there, Ironman as a whole might be taken over by the banks and creditors that they owe money to. And when this happens, this isn't like, oh, banks come in and they change the sport for the better. They decimate a business, selling off bits and pieces of it for whatever they can. In Ironman's case, they don't have tangible assets. They don't have land. They don't have a lot of machinery. They don't really even have anything proprietary. They have a brand name, but how much can you sell that for? So what ends up happening is businesses shrink and become a shell of their former selves. And let's face it, that a healthy Ironman is a healthy triathlon community. So do I want my money back from Ironman Cork and from Half Ironman Galveston last year? Yes, absolutely. Do I expect you to be happy for plunking money down and then potentially never getting that money back again? No, absolutely not. I'm not happy about it. You're not happy about it. Is it the best thing for triathlon to have that money come back? No, I don't think so. Is it the best thing for triathlon to just plunk all that money down and expect it to evaporate and essentially have a donation, which is kind of what this video from Andrew Messick feels like? It kind of feels like a GoFundMe campaign, like keep entering our races that we expect to be postponed and canceled. No, that's not good either. But what I believe is that there's got to be some sort of happy medium where people don't feel like they're out 100% of their money, and Ironman is not just keeping everything while not delivering any type of event. And I'm certainly not giving them a pass because this video should have happened a year ago. Don't wait an entire year to let this stuff happen, bubble up, and then say, oh, everything's fine, keep entering our races, but by the way, we're not even going to acknowledge that we haven't given any money back and you all want money back. If you want us to be on your side, Ironman, you have to give us a reason to be. And I really want to be on your side, but it's getting harder and harder when you're tone deaf like this and taking tens of millions of dollars without giving any sort of value or any sort of compassion for people who are really suffering because of not having those funds. That's what I've got. I don't really know how to end this, but hopefully races can happen at some point in the future, because I miss all of your smiling faces and taking selfies with you, and hopefully we can see each other at a race sometime. Later, Trainiacs. I really don't want to do another one of these videos about Ironman again.